Baldur's legacy. The grand design, once again, ended by my line.
The brain is on the cusp of its final thought, and it's taking all of Orpheus's strength to keep it there. An opportunity, perhaps.
My master. I must obey. I must end.
Hopes, nightmares, and the screams of legions upon legions of unborn lipids. The pain rips through you, obliterating all thought, all feeling. Your tadpole burns in your brain. Silence. Free of urge and worm, your brain is battered and bruised. But it is yours. Yours at last. Everything you did, everything you sacrificed, it was worth it. For this.
should have learned to bloody swim. Can't believe I almost drowned at the last hurdle.
My powers, they're draining. Just like Mazora said they would. A small price to pay in the grand scheme of things.
It's over. It's truly over.
The parasite. It's withered. Dead along with the netherbrain. I am cleansed. I will never be a filthy geich. Only mild offense intended, of course. You did the unthinkable. And I'm grateful for it.
Even when my time in the prism stretched out like eternity, when escape seemed impossible, I never lost hope. I knew that my destiny was to liberate my people, to return to them triumphant. I was wrong. It seems I can only fulfill one part of my destiny. My people will be liberated, but I cannot return to them. Not like this. You helped me destroy that abomination. Now help me destroy myself. You must kill me. But first, Lae'zel, I need your promise. Carry my hope. Carry my burden. Call my dragons, Kulos and Kuthos, and ride to the Astral Sea. Destroy Vlaakith. Release our people. Be our future and our legacy.
It will be done. I will never be free while my people are still bound by Vlaakith's chains.
Enough talk. Give me my freedom. Freedom from this form. Yes. But for how long? My mind screams. It will never stop until it has slipped away from me entirely. I will not be Geich. I did what I did to save my people. The rest is up to them. Someone else must rise within the ranks to lead the revolution against Vlaakith. Give me my freedom from this form. Release my soul to the astral seas, while I still have one to call my own. Perhaps you are right. I may not be the one to lead my people, but I can still bear witness to their glory. I shall find a place for myself in a corner of these realms. For even in darkness, the stars of Tunarath will shine upon me. You were a worthy ally.
Kulos! I can never forget you. Your name will be etched in our slates. You will be called Mlagir, Liberator. To the skies!
Look. The Githyanki take flight.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city, smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Giontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. The power of Karsus would be in my hands. But what then? What would I do with it once I have it? Sage and timely counsel as always. And I intend to heed it. A wise man learns from his mistakes and strives not to repeat them. I shall bring the crown to Mistra. She'll cure me of my affliction. And I'll finally be free. And a more deserving one this time around. If this adventure has taught me anything, is that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. Besides, I'm growing quite fond of this merry band of ours, but I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mistra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
I am seldom one to imbibe, but even I shall make an exception on a day like today. I think we have earned it, no?
After everything, that's your suggestion. Aren't you tired? I'm tired. I honestly don't mind what we do once we get to the... Ow! What the... Oh, no. Oh, God. Well, it was nice when it lasted. Ah! I'm sorry. I have to go.
Astarion's days in the sun are behind him. The best you can hope is that he finds darkness and the comfort it once gave him. Knowing him, he probably will. Comfort was always one of his specialities, especially when it was his own.
We did it, soldier. The city's going to be all right. And so are you. Engine's finally cooked. Held on just long enough. So, how'd I do? So are you. My friend. My companion. I adore you. Careful! Hot! I never gave up. I did my best. I did my best.
It's the one thing I can't beat, isn't it?
I wanted to live in my city with my friends. But life is for the living. And I saw... Goodbye, son. Goodbye, sea. Goodbye. You can't. much longer.
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid empire, no death god's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the Sword Coast. You are the saviors of Baldur's Gate.
Well, soldier, here we are. It worked. My engines calmed down. I shouldn't have let you come here. This isn't going to be easy, you know. Zariel's going to come at us with everything she's got. Gods, like clockwork. They'll be on us soon, but there's just enough time. Thought I was done with these. But then, there was you. Imps are fast, but careless. Don't let them tire you out, just get rid of them. And don't forget, you asked for this. Better let these fuckers know I'm back. And this time, I'm not alone.
When the invitation came, you were hip-deep in Lemur's slime, swarmed by hell wasps, and about to drive the killing blow on a magma claw. Cutting through the dreadful buzz of the wasps and the screams of the damned, a familiar, comforting voice echoed in your mind. Withers, he requested your attendance in Faerun, to gather with your friends and allies, those who stood against the Absolute at your side. A reprieve from the Blood War. A few hours of respite with the stars above and good company to cheer you. Karlach's heart can take the strain of leaving Avernus for a few short hours, but it might burst with joy to see those friends again.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Now there's a face I know
well informed. Now there's a ditty worthy of a knee slap.
All over the world, but is there one bottle of fresh blood?
The past made present.
Now there's a
Blood
face I
red.
know well indeed.
For this.
Oh, right. You. Hello. You helped Mr. Dicarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right? That doesn't sound like him. But whichever way you want to remember it, well done, I suppose. You ought to come visit myself and Gale when you're able, if you can extract yourself from what I'm sure are very important responsibilities. We'll send word by pigeon when we've need of you. I used to have a taste for them, but a great many things have changed in recent months. Ta-ta, darling.
Well, well. Look what the Tressim dragged in. Professor Gale Dicarios of Blackstaff Academy. Educator of the esteemed School of Illusion. Pleasure to remake your acquaintance. Well, that was quite lovely. I'm glad you're as pleased to see me as I am you. I have to say, I'm quite grateful to just be Gale for the evening. I fear my students find me somewhat intimidating due to my, explosive former reputation. I seem to put the fear of the gods into them. Or the fear of Mystra, to be more specific. I surrendered the crown of Carsus to her, as I told you I would. And in return, she cured me of the orb at last. Even now, I struggle to put the feelings into words. It was like exhaling for the first time after holding my breath for so very long. Of course, I haven't clarified with my students that the orb is no longer a threat. The legend of my explosive capabilities is an excellent means of controlling a classroom. Too good, if anything. I spend most of my time trying to convince them how much fun the study of magic can be. But it'd be easier to crack a smile on an intellect devourer than some of my pupils. Ah, so you still remember our little lesson. It was quite something to share such a moment with you, though it vanished all too quickly. You were, of course, indulging me in submitting to such a lesson. Teaching you was hardly an effort at all. Not like my present cohort of apprentices. Oh, they try their best, of course, when they can manage to stay awake.
The cheek of them! Nothing a well-placed swipe from Tara can't fix, though.
And what of you? What are you making of this newfound lease of life we earned? I almost feel sorry for the devils in your path. I mean, I don't, of course. Sure, they deserve it. I've told my students plenty of tales about our escapades. You're something of a hero to them, you know? I'd be delighted to introduce you to my current cohort as a guest lecturer, perhaps. I'm sure they'd have plenty of questions for you. Excellent. I knew you wouldn't be able to resist the allure of sharing your expertise. Of course, you'll be most welcome to stay with me in my tower. My apologies, Tara. That would be our tower. It will give us plenty of time to catch up on your adventures. I'm very curious to know what you've been up to these past months. But I suspect the telling of that tale would keep you tied to me all evening. So, in the spirit of selflessness, I encourage you to mix and mingle for now, with time enough to come.
The Hell's Walker returns. For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. I never imagined we'd be standing toe-to-toe on this day, in this place. Nothing but allies, I always told myself. A necessary partnership. But in spite of every strained word, every barbed glance, seeing you brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head. It's nice to hear it. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure my projection. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. Shractalor. I wouldn't expect you to. The capital city of the Githzerai, an exiled people, once kin with mine, until the madness of civil war ripped our one sky into 2. Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to their god king Zareth Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. Exactly the reaction I expected. My blade as keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am a warrior of the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. I admit, I've longed for his guiding wisdom more than once, but I have not heard tell of him. Nor has my mind felt his presence. Gith's son has been lost to the shadows. Perhaps one day, when the Lich Queen is dust, he will step into the light. Soon, when the comet has risen, when the Lich Queen has crumbled to dust, I miss this place. More to the point, I miss you. I wouldn't even deny it with Vlaakith's vorpal blade at my neck. Though, I'd rather it not come to that. Now go. Mingle a bit. That's the word, right? Mingle. I'll be back one day. The Overgod himself couldn't keep me away. So it has. And a fine man the hatchling will be. I call him Zahn. Freedom. He is with the mages of Zamvardim. I trust his care to no one else. Zahn's destiny will be his own to follow. Warrior, poet, explorer, scholar. His way will be the way of the comet. No chains to bind us, no lies to bury us. Liberty will be the rallying cry that unites our empire.
So you made it! Now it really is a party.
You'd be killed for a glass of lava wine.
Well, look who decided to turn up. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And look at you, straight from the hells, still reeking of brimstone. I take it you've been having fun. Understandable, but try to resist the urge. I don't want to know what your clothes have been through since we last met. Although I do like the style. Tortured armor never does go out of fashion. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Let's not get carried away, darling. I'm still me. Perhaps more me than I've ever been. I did at first. But then I realized, these shadows, this darkness, it's all a part of me. I spent too long defined by what other people did to me, the choices other people made for me. But that's over now. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
What more could I wish for?
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. How nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? Do you know, I have been known, on occasion, to speak ill of Baldur's Gate. But the city is more than her squalid streets. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers, have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. For all your travels, I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Ah, it's the star of the show. Our humble protagonist who forsook Baal to save the city. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Busy as ever. Better that than the reverse, wouldn't you say? Every major publishing house on the Sword Coast has been vying for my upcoming book on the subject of our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Me. It's all Volo as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
There you are. I was hoping you'd make your way over. Beautiful thing. Patriarch's dreary banquets.
I play with Big Brother Scratch, but am careful. He's small. Yes. Miss this. More.
Oh, I would kill for a
I had a
glass of
spot of
ulava
deja vu.
wine.
your relief, your projection holds. It took a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 10 days of effort to conjure it. You can touch, taste, and talk, but your fleshy body is in limbo, the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once, the Githzerai were one with the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed the Gith species. The Githzerai god king, Menyar Ag-Gith, sent word through the cosmos. He knows of your rebellion, and he's agreed to parley. Should the Githzerai join you, you could vanquish Flakith in a red dragon's blink.
What's the word on the rebellion? I presume you've cracked open more Kithraki heads than you could possibly count. Diplomacy. Not so different from fighting, I find. You still grip your blade. You just hide it beneath a silken glove. I'm no stranger to it myself. A city is not rebuilt with the simple wave of a duke's hand. Bargains must be made. Coin must change hands. Tongues must be held in check. Father leaves me to my own devices, though he's got no shortage of advice when I ask for it. Still, I make the decisions I see fit. The ones I think will restore the city to glory. I serve only Baldur's Gate, not a devil of the first hell. Father's very well, and back in his element, commanding the flaming fist with as brave a heart as ever. Floric, bless her soul, convinced him to withhold the lashings and scoldings, though I know he was tempted. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's chosen primed the fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, Father's pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. I've had more than a few challenges, given the horns sprouting from my head. The people know me as one of the champions who saved their beloved city. They know Ravengard blood flows through my veins. The patriarchs, the aristocracy, the councils of Waterdeep and Arm, their arms aren't so wide open. Still, there's no friction that can't be greased with a sly promise or a proposition. The jewel of the coast will shine ever bright, welcoming the weak and the weary from wherever they hail. We are building new housing, not just shanties, but homes where families can rest their heads, plant gardens, pursue happiness. Amazing what can be done when Parliament and the Council pressure the upper city elites to open their coffers. I'm sure the Silver Shields can make do without a few more jeweled crowns. Disbanded, to be formed anew. I don't expect a soldier or street sweeper to see through the schemes of a tyrant like Gortash. But the city's lords and ladies were all too eager to abandon their oaths and bend the knee. My father, older Ravengard, is now Grand Duke of the Triad, Keeper of the Fist. Floric is now Grand Duke of the Crossing, the face of devotion. And I am Will Ravengard, Grand Duke of the Worm, Heart of the Gate. We will yet be four. Until such time and after, we will enact the will of the People's Parliament. Baldur's Gate is nothing without its citizens, both in the upper and lower. Our duty is to them, and only them. Of course. Never. The hexes and eldritch blasts, losing them took getting used to. They left behind a cold abyss where fire once raged. So I stoked a new one. Now the burning comes from within me, not from the depths of Avernus. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
I found this. It smelled like you, so I kept it. Seemed like something you might like to throw. Oh, I've been so good. I've got a nice home in the city now. A girl named Mindy says I'm her best friend. She's mine too. Also you and Albert. I've got so many best friends, I hardly know who to play with. I certainly have, and I always will. Forever, I think. And so will you. You know best, but a little fetch never hurt anyone, as far as I know.
There you are. Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it? Same. In fact, I found a nice meadow not far from where I live now. Every now and again, I'll spend the night there. For old time's sake. I'm glad you seem well. Trudy. I had no doubt. But I'm glad to hear you say it all the same. I found a little cottage. Abandoned, half ruined. There's a lot of such places to be found, thanks to the Absolute's armies. I've been making it my own. Sedate is exactly what I've needed. It's harder than I'd expected, actually. I'll never take vegetables for granted after all the effort it's taken to grow a few, but still. It's mine. Well, mine and the lodger's. 4 dogs, 8 cats, 9 chickens, 6 pigeons, 4 sheep, a milk cow named Daphne, a squirrel who's far too clever for her own good, and a wolf cub I found orphaned in some woods. He's just a frightened little pup. He has no idea what he'll grow up to be. And maybe, with me there to guide him, who knows what he'll become. It's amazing what can happen with the right nurturing. I've called him Buttons, because he has different colored eyes like buttons on a ragdoll. Healing. Learning to live again. It's hard to think of all that was robbed from them, but they're intent on making every day count for double. My mother's mind still drifts every now and again, but she has more good days than not so good days. She taught me her recipe for apple and plum pie, and When I tasted it, I actually remembered it from when I was a little girl. Some things can't be taken from you, it seems. Father's making himself useful, helping me fix up the cottage and caring for the animals. His wolf form is very useful in helping Buttons to acclimatize. I think part of him wishes I'd ended up as a lycanthrope as well. Sorry, I'm rambling. Family life and pastry recipes probably aren't the most interesting topics for such a historic reunion. As am I. And no small bit surprised, also. Part of me is afraid I'll wake up from the dream and find myself back in the wilds, or worse, at the cloister. But no, it's real. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. I'm glad you two have each other. Hells, I'd be almost tempted to come along if you'd have me. Perhaps if your adventures ever lead you out of Avernus permanently. Hopefully these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Oh, before you go, how does a red dragon plan their day? They don't. They just wing it. Sorry. My father's got years of terrible jokes stocked up that he never got to tell me when I was younger, but lucky for him, I never heard them. And seemingly, I am easily amused. As if you'd have me any other way. Go on, you've got mingling to do. I'll work on my punchlines some more.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. He wasn't kidding. Where's your mad bastard? You brought us back! Commander Zula won't know where the fuck we went! Ha! Oh, man, I can't wait to say hi to everyone. Look at them, the beauts. Rest up, soldier. My tin can will be all right for the night. And you and me will get to sleep with both eyes shut for the first time in 6 months. You don't need to ask, soldier.